Hey, so let's start our assignment. I made a few changes to make it look a little bit better, but these are tiny changes and I will teach you. So don't worry about it. And congratulations if you were able to make it. And if you were not, then you will be able to make it by the end of this video. So let's begin. First thing that we have to do is, you know, think of the whole page as different boxes. So this is one box, or you can say one section. This is another section. This is another section and another. And this would also be considered another section. These sections, they can be called different names, but usually they are called header. This section is called hero section. You can call it anything you want. Same with this one. And finally, we have a footer. In HTML, we write divs, but we can also write footer or header as element name. But I prefer writing div and then writing the class equal to whatever the name is there. So these are the boxes. And if we see inside the box, there are more boxes. For example, this one here, it is another box. And inside this box, we have this item and this item. So what I do is I set almost every box to flex and then apply styles to it. That's the way I do it, and you should try doing that. For example, here too, I used a flex box for this element and these elements, and then I used flex box again for these three elements, and then flex box again inside all of them for keeping them like this. So yeah, get used to Flexbox because we are going to use that a lot. Same with this one, and this is the footer. So let's start. First thing that we have to do is set the fonts. Uh, we will use Google Fonts. So let's go to Google Fonts and get the fonts that we want. We want Poppins. So we will go to this page. Uh, Select Get Font. Now get embed code. Here we have multiple options. We will use the web section and select import. We can also use link, but I prefer the import way. Here we will copy this text, go to our CSS file and paste it. And in the HTML, make sure that you connected your CSS and added a title. Now, let me show you. There's one type of selector. It is called universal selector. What you have to do is write asterisk. It will select the whole document, and here we can select font family and write Poppins here. Let's hit save, and to check it, let's write an H1. Uh, let's say testing, and if we go live, we can see that a font has been applied. Uh, if we deselect it, let's comment it, hit save and go back. We can see this is the default font. So let's change it back to Poppins, hit save, and yeah, it's done. Let me close this window. We don't need it anymore. Uh, Here with fonts, we will use properties like uh, font weight, line height, and text transform and everything. We will see it, so don't worry about it. So let's start with our first section, that is the header. Here's how you can create a div with a class name already defined in VS Code. Just write dot and the class name that we want. This time we want header, press enter. Now we have a div with class name header, and inside this div we want h1 which says coffee corner. Let's save. Coffee corner is here. Let's apply some styles to it. So let's select a header and give it a background color, let's say red, and we have to give it a display of flex, and now we can see that there is some extra margin and padding. We don't need that. So remember I told you in the last video, just select body and apply margin 0, and to be safe, padding 0. uh, this is looking good now. Let's select h1 and change the font size. It should be h1. We'll set the font size to 16 pixels. It looks too small. Let's change it to 24. Okay, this looks nice. Now let's give them their original colors, the ones that we are going to use. So the background color for the header, uh, we will change it to this one. Let's hit save, and we have a color now. And for the text, we're going to give this color. This is dark brown. Looks like black, but it is dark brown. Okay, now we need to add a little bit of gap here. So we can add padding here or here. Let's add it here. Padding 20 pixels. And now our header is too big. So let's give it a height of 70 pixels. And let's remove the padding from here and here. So let's just make it padding left and hit save. This is how we want it to look. Let's see how it's looking on a bigger window. It's looking good the way we want it. Here's the color palette page. Now the next section is our hero section. Here we need to create one div for image, one div for text, and h1 or h2 for this heading, and a p tag. We will use flex here in the big box and flex here in the small boxes as well. So let's go back to our VS Code and create a hero section. Just write dot hero, press enter, and our div is now ready. So let's add two more sections, dot hero dash img and dot hero dash text. Let's hit save. Let's fill the content inside. Here we need image tag. So I will write this, and this is the location of the image that I'm using in the images folder, and its name is coffeehero.jpg. So let's change it to, let's hit save. Image is here, but it is too big, so we will apply CSS to make it smaller and fit the window. Right now leave it like that. And for the text we will need one h2. We can also use h1 because once we apply the styles, it's going to be very different, but let's go with h2. And here we have to write the best coffee in town. Hit save, and our text should be somewhere. Yeah, it is here. And now we need a paragraph tag, so I'll just copy it and paste it here. Hit save. Paragraph is here now. Now let's apply flexbox styles to it so that it looks the way we want it to. So let's go to style.css, and now we have to select a hero class and change its display to flex. Hit save. Now the image and text should appear side by side. Okay, that's good. Now let's select the image in hero, the image div, and set its flex to 1. This is flex grow, the shorthand property I told you about. Let's hit save, and just like that, let's also select and set its flex to 1. Yeah, we have to give a width to the image. So if I hit 100% of the width, it's working now. So this is inside the div, which contains 50% of space, and this width, this image will take 100% of this box. It's a bit confusing working with images. You will get used to it once you work more with it. So this white background color is not looking good. So what we can do is here select HTML and select background color and paste this value. Okay, hash is already there. Okay, now this color is applied globally inside HTML tag. Let's go down. Now let's select hero text H1. No, it was H2. And let's see what are these styles. Okay, this is nice. And let's also select and give it the following properties. Okay, they are starting to look good now. We want the text to be flex as well, so let's change its display to flex. Now they're appearing side by side. So let's change the flex direction to column. Let's see how it's looking in a bigger window. It is looking good, but we want the text to be a bit larger and to appear at the center. So let's change the content, justify content to center. Now it's vertically aligned in the center. Remember, we are using flex direction column. That's why we used justify content instead of align items. And I will make it a bit larger. So H2, I will set it to 60 pixels. Okay, it's way better. And notice both of them have same color. So I will remove it from here and here and add it here so that I don't write the same code again and again. It's looking good, but by default, there are some margin added to text elements. I don't know why is that. So let's give it a margin of 0 and let's do the same with this. Okay, now they are looking better, but we need a little bit of gap. So let's add a gap from here of 20 pixels. Okay, this is much better. In the demonstration video, I had text divided in 2 lines. So we can do that by adding a br tag uh, here. It will break the text in 2 lines, but I think it looks better in a single line, so I will leave it like that. Now there's a gap needed here and some margin and padding needed all over the hero section. So let's add those styles. First, let's add a gap here. So here we will add gap of 20 pixels, and we need some padding. So I'll add a padding of 20 pixels as well. How about 40? Let me check it on the larger window. It's looking good. But on the smaller window, they're looking like this. So let's align items in center. Okay, it is much better. To make the design more responsive, we would place it on top here, but we're not going to use media query in this video. So that's a topic for another video, and I will show it later. Right now, let's just focus on making the page look good for a bigger window. Now it's time for our reviews section. Here we have one box, then it have one element and another box. So let's think of it as two elements. Now this is another box which contains three elements, and each of them contains three. So let's start with creating one of the card, and then we will add two more cards and add style to rest of the object. So let's go to VS Code. Let's create reviews. Here we will say H1. What our customers say for us. After that, we will have review cards, and inside that we will have review card, and each card will have H2. That will be name, image, and paragraph. So let me add the info here. First card is ready. The image is looking too big now. We have to adjust it. So let's go to our CSS, and let's first work with the review card. We want the display to be flex, and we want the direction to be column. Now the image is too big. Let's fix that first. So review card, image, and we will set the width to 160 pixels and height to 160 pixels. Let's hit save. And one more thing that we will do is use object fit property and set it to cover. This will keep the aspect ratio like the original. Now that the image is looking good, let's go back to our card and give it some height and width. So height of 360 pixels and width of 280 pixels looks good. Okay, so our card is starting to look better now. Now we want the items to appear in the center. So we'll set align items center. Now the items are in center, and now let's add a background color to it. I choose this color. Now let's add a border to it. Border. First we will select the width that will be 3 pixels. Then the border type, we will choose solid. Other option is dashed, we don't want that. And the color, it should be the lighter one. Right now you cannot see the border because the background and the border color is same. So let's go to our uh, reviews section and set the background color to this one. Okay, now our border is visible. uh, Now let's make the text inside also the same color as the border. So color, this one. And let's add the same border to the image. Let's copy it and paste it. Now it's starting to look good, but let's add some padding. 20 pixels. Yeah, it's good. Now the text, it should be aligned to the center. So review card and P, uh, text align center. Okay, looking good. uh, Font size 18 pixels. 16 should be better. Okay, and just like that we will select review card, uh, H2, and font size to be 24 pixels, uh, margin set to 0, and font weight to, let's say, around 500. Okay, this looks good. And we will also remove the margin from here. Now the items are close to each other, so let's go to our card and justify space between, or what if I try space around? Yeah, space around looks much better. Now let's change the angle of the border here. uh, just like we added border radius to the image of 50%, it made the image round. We will add border to the card, but we will not use percent. We will use pixels, so 10 pixels. It is nice, but 15 is much better. So now our card is done. So let's add two more cards. I will go to my HTML, and after this div I will paste two more, hit save, and now we have three cards. They are appearing one after the another. So let's uh, change the display to flex for review cards. So here we go, uh, review cards and display flex. Now the cards are here. Let's add a gap of 20 pixels. Now there is a gap, but the cards are not looking good. So we will use flex wrap, and yes, we will wrap it. The new item will go to the next line, and to make it appear at the center, we will use justify content center. Now the new card is at the center. So if I look at it at a bigger screen, it looks like this, and it's really starting to come along. Now let's change the heading and add some padding here, padding and margin, and after that our section will be done. So let's go back here, and let's select reviews h1 and give it a color of this one. um, font weight is just the thickness, so let's change it to 500. And We will increase the font size. I don't know, 60 pixels. I hope that's not too big. Uh, and what if I try 50? Yeah, 50 is nice. Now the text is appearing on the left side. So let's change text align to center. Text is at the center. We'll make the text uppercase. So we have a property called text transform. And if we type capitalize, the first letter will be capitalized uppercase. But if we change it to uppercase, the whole text should be uppercase. That's what we wanted. Now it's looking good on the small screen and even on the larger screen. Now there's some gap that is here, and that's all right. And we need some padding here and here. So we will use this dark box, that is review, and add a padding of 20 pixels. Okay, this is nice. And at the bottom, I think it stayed the same. So if we added a padding to reviews, okay, not a problem. Review cards, let's give it a background color, red, and see where it ends. Okay, so this is the cards and this is the padding here. Yeah, it's good. You know what, let's give it a max width of 900 or 1000 pixels. uh, what about 1200? Yeah, so three of them are here. Now the items are appearing at the left side, so let's change the display here to flex and flex direction to column and align items center. Okay, now it's much better. And let's remove the red color. If we want more gap here, we can try adding padding here. Yeah, it's working, but what if I only select padding bottom? Yeah, so the padding from the top is removed and the bottom is there. This much looks nice. Now it's time for our next section, and that is the location section. Here we have one element here. So consider it one box and one element. Think of it as a whole box here and one here. So in total we have 1, 2, and 3 here. And in the second one there are more divisions. So one here and one here. And this one is also divided into two sections. So the first one would be this. The second one would be this list. It looks complicated, but it's easy once you code it. So let's go to our VS Code and collapse this reviews and create a new section. Let's call it order, because we are asking to order. I don't think much before naming the classes. So first thing, let's add h1 and say ready to visit us and a question mark. Let's hit save and go back to our file. Our new text is here, and on a smaller window it would look like this. And let's open VS Code side by side. After that we want an image, but before that let's style this same way I style this. So I will go and select order and set the display to flex, uh, flex direction to column. Right now there are no items, so it will appear like this. And after I did that, I will select order and H2 or H1. What did I pick? I wrote H1, so I'll select H1 and give it color of, yeah, this darker one, and font style, I'll copy it from here. No, not here. I will copy it from here. Okay, yes, this is how we want it to look. Now we have to make this box. So let's create a box and then add image and h2. So let's go back to HTML, create a div. What should we call it? We can call it, this one we can call location. So dot location, press enter, and in this div we will have a div for image. So we can use image directly and we can also use div. I will use image directly this time, and its source will be images slash location.png, and alt would be location. And if I go back here and hit save, the image is there, but it is too big. So let's go to CSS, select location and image, and set the width to 300 pixels. Yeah, this looks nice. And let me shift it here. This we want it to be mirrored, so we can use a property called transform. There's a property called scale x, and if we write -1, the image will be flipped. So that's how we wanted it. Now the location images size is right, and the next thing we want is another div. So we will write location text, and a new div has been created. Let me put it back here and add a text. So what do we have to write? We have to our store locations. So let's select h2, our store locations, and after h2 we will have unordered list, and this list contains 3 elements. So li and 123 coffee street New York ny 12345. And now we need it 2 more times. I hope Copilot would help me. Yes, it did. One more time, please. Yes, thank you. And now if I hit save and go back, our text is here. Now we want the display to be flex and the direction to be row. So let's move to a smaller window and go to our style CSS, and we have a class called location text and class called location. So we have to work with location. So let's select location and set its display to flex, hit save. Okay, it's looking good now. And direction is row, so we have to align them vertically. So align items center. Now items are in the center. Now I will select location text h2, and first I'll select location text and set the color to the darker one. Okay, now I will select location text h2 and give it a font size of 48 pixels. That's too large. About 36. Yeah, it's good. uh, Font weight, once again, that is the thickness. 500 should be good. What about 400? Yeah, it's much better. And now I'll select the text here, location text p. Okay, so location text was not p, it should be ul, and it worked. And we will set it to 20 pixels, 18 pixels. Yeah, that's much better. I selected p, and that caused a mistake. I corrected it. So now we have to align it to the center vertically. To do that, we have to once again utilize the text properties. So let's select our location, align item center, and justify content center. Hit save. Let's see in the bigger window. Yeah, it is how it should look. Let's confirm it. Yeah, it is looking like the design I shared. Now let's add this text. So we can use h2 again. Let's go here and open our combination here. Let's go back to HTML. After our location text, after our location div, we will need h2. Use this coupon to get a discount. CoffCon 20. I hit save. The new text is here, but it's appearing to the left. Uh, we will understand that. Why is that happening? But first, let's apply style to it. Once again, I was repeating this again, so I will just control X, cut it, remove this selector, I don't need it, and I will paste it here because all the text here have the same color, and I'll also remove it from here. So now all of them have the same color, and we are using order and h2. Font size looks nice. We'll change the font weight to 500. Hit save. Okay, it's looking good. Now we have to make this specific part darker. To do that, we will use pan. It is a small, you can say, it is an HTML element to select a specific part of text, and you can also add a different class name to it. Right now we don't need it. We will just use dot order h2 and span to select the specific span, and set the font weight to 700. What about 1000? Let's see if it's working or not. So color aqua. No, it's not working. Okay, so it was not being applied because I forgot to save my HTML file. Let's hit save, and it is working. You can see the color has changed. Let's remove that color first and set the font weight to 600, and this one to 400. You know what? Let's increase the font size a bit. What was the size here? H2 we didn't specify. About 20 pixels. Okay, it got smaller, about 30. It's too big. 27, 26. Okay, this is good. Now we want to keep it at the center. So we have to check a parent div. The parent div is order, display is flex, direction is column. So align items, center, hit save. Yeah, the items are at the center now. If I go back to my larger window, uh, it looks like we want it to. Uh, yeah, pretty much just like that. Yeah, it's good. We don't need extra padding or margin. Yeah, I'm satisfied with it. Now let's finish it with the final section. The footer is just one div with text in center. Uh, so let's go back to our HTML. Uh, let's collapse the order and footer, and we have to write coffee corner 2025. So let's select a P, coffee corner 2025, all rights reserved. Let's hit save and see it here. Okay, it is here. Let's go to style CSS, select footer, give it a background color of the dark one, and the text inside it should be lighter one, height about same as header. It's not compulsory to do the same, but I think it would look good to have the same size for both of them. And let's select footer P, uh, font size 28 pixels. That's too big. Let's try 24. I think that's good. Uh, text align center. Let's save. Okay. But it is not vertically centered. So let's change the footer to flex. Align them to center and justify content to center. Now it's done. Uh, almost. There's no copyright sign here. So to do that, we have to write um, an person copy. Yeah, it worked. This is a code for HTML to write copyright sign. So our page is done. Let's look at it in full screen. Yeah, it is done. A little different from what I said, but uh, yeah, almost like that. We can play with the gap here and margin and padding here. Okay, so we were able to make it the way we wanted it, but next time we will use media queries in CSS to make the design responsive so that it appears good on both mobile, PC, or even tab. And we don't need it right now because our main goal is to learn React. And once we learn development, we can come back to CSS and learn the design there. Right now, learning the functionality is more important. That's why I am skipping it and skipping many things. And that's the point of my whole course. So don't think that I am skipping things because I don't know them. I'm just skipping them because we are taking the fast route. Okay, so congratulations. Now you are done with CSS. There are some HTML and CSS concepts that we will learn in between, like HTML forms, uh, buttons, and other inputs. From the next video, we will start learning JavaScript. Now, the main difficult part starts. See you in the next video.